What YouTube? Quinn Wade coming to y'all with some basketball analysis on analysisplayground.com and on YouTube. We're going to talk about what to expect from the Miami Heat, a team that finished 46-36 last season, finishing second in the Southeast Division behind Orlando by only one game. And we understand that Orlando is young and they're improving and they're growing, they're getting better. While the Miami Heat is on the other side of it, where they have a sprinkle little bit of young players with a mix of some older players with some guys that's hungry to prove themselves on a decent roster. And when you look at the Miami Heat, it looked like they still can be a contender depending on the matchups that they may face in the Eastern Conference. And they did it before 2 years ago, getting back to the finals. And they a team that you have to beat. They're not going to lay down. They're not going to give up. They're not going to, do something that usually beats themselves outside of getting injuries. Is the only thing that really held this team back, or a team just being more talented or having a more dominant player and a great player surrounding that dominant player. And that's the only thing that you can really do to beat the Miami Heat. You have to finish them because they will always feel that they can go and get back in the game. They can feel like they can make some plays. They have a lot of belief, in their culture and how they play as a team. And you have to kill that to be able to finish this team off and even finish them off in the playoffs. So they scrappy, they're feisty, they hustle and muscle, they're strong and they're defiant as a team. And you look at Thomas Bryant, I think he would be a great player on this roster. He has the speed, he has the quickness, he has the length, he has the size, he has the ability to knock down shots on a perimeter. And that's what they need to back up Bam Adebayo. Bam has been a guy that has been very dominant on the defensive end, really good at setting screens. He's really good at making teammates get easier shots and helping them get easier shots. He's a confidence builder type of guy. And the fact that he can also hit the mid-range shot and he can finish very strong in the paint and he can, rotate very well. And he's a switchable guy as a center or power forward, however you look at it, or whatever they need him to be. He's willing to accept that role and play in that role. And a lot of people forget that Bam Adebayo is only 27 years old. A lot of people think Bam Adebayo is a little older than that. He might look older, but he's still a young guy with a lot of things that he can still learn and still improve on. And you see that basically every season he's adding something new to his game, even if it's defensively, even if it's offensively. And that's how he was able to make it to the All-Star game and be one of the All-NBA defenders, because he's just that good at soaking up knowledge and applying it to the court. And that's something that you want your stars and your role players to be or do. And that's how Bam ascended up the ranks of bigs. And he's still one of the best big men in the league. And he's a guy that you really can't teach effort and energy, but he plays so hard and he does it wisely, is why he's very tough, to prepare for as an opponent. And then you look at Alec Burke. He's been around the league. He's a guy that can handle the ball. He's a guy that can get his own shot, play off the ball a little bit. And they need guys like that, and I can see why they went that direction. And it makes sense having a guy like that you know what you're going to get. He can make plays, and he can do it for himself. Those are the guys that every team needs, especially coming off the bench, because your starters are the ones that usually get subbed, and they need people they respect to come out and play. And Alec Burks is a guy that no matter where he goes, he always get playing time. Even if it's 10 to 15 to 20 minutes, he always seems to put the ball in the basket. Even though he's getting older, I still believe he can do that. And then him and Faye Butler, Jimmy Butler is really good. He's a guy that defends. He can play make. He's a guy that can get his own shot. He's a guy that likes the mid-range area, but he's always bumping and bruising and attacking the defense. His physicality is one of the reasons why he's been injured in the regular season. Even if it's minor injuries and nothing serious, he does miss a lot of time because of that. That's something that this team has brought up. We will win more games if Bam and Jimmy play more games in general together, because they're a tough duo and a tough tandem to stop and score on, especially when you put the right role players around them, which you have to give Pat Riley, especially this year, for doing. Like, Jimmy Butler has, some of the best teammates that he has had on his roster this year, and they haven't even played the season yet. And I just look at this roster and say this team can do a lot of damage to a lot of teams. And you even look at Josh Christopher, who might not even be on this roster, and you look at Tyler Hero, a guy that can get hot. He can handle the ball and create his own shot. He can shoot the three. He can come off screens. He can keep moving and make you have to focus and pay attention the whole 24 seconds on the shot clock, because he can always find a way to get open and knock down some shots. He can also create his own shot, get into the paint. He can also knock down some floaters. He also is a solid playmaker as a combo guard, which they needed him to be for this particular roster to work. He has been able to do it off and on. They need him to be more consistent, and they need his jump shot to be more consistent too, because sometimes he can be hit or miss even with his passing. Haywood Highsmith, he's a big guy. He's a forward. Some say he's a forward. Some say he's a guard. But on this roster, they just need him to be a big body that can come in and contribute on both ends of the court, and even get out in transition and get some easy opportunities, and then be able to knock some shots in the corner down whenever he comes in. That's the role they need him to play. And Jaime Jaquez, he's a guy that people like, and they really understand that he's a guy that can develop and be something special for them. I'm not saying all-star, I'm not saying superstar, but he was a guy that you didn't really know what you're going to get out of him coming out of UCLA, and he showed that he's an NBA player. He's a great rotation player. He can really do a lot of things, and he's not just a shooter. He's a guy that can do a lot of things scoring-wise, even creating his own shot and getting his own buckets, and they have more of those guys, which they needed. And you can say the same thing about Nikola Jovic. He became a whole lot better as the season continued. His confidence went through the roof. His dribble and handle got better. His three-point shot got a little bit better. His ability to get to the basket was getting better. And we knew that Jovic could be something special. We just have to wait till he get the adaptation and the adjustment to the NBA and grow his body out a little bit more, so that way he can score and be able to create his contact and be able to finish through contact, just in case that jump shot isn't there. And then he's showing the ability to possibly be able to play off the ball. So he's going to be one of them intriguing guys like Jaime that we're going to be looking at and saying how much better can they get, and what's the cap for them as a role player or as a star player, because they already got guys like Duncan Robinson and guys like Tyler Hero that's already playing that role. And another guy that's playing that role is Terry Rozier. Scary Terry, he's a guy that can get hot. He can knock down shots from everywhere on the court. He's not the most efficient guy. He's not the biggest guard. He's not the strongest guard. But he is a guy that can score, and that's what they was missing a little bit last year, was just guys that can help put the ball in the basket. And I feel like Terry Rozier helps with that, including Jaime and including Nikola Jovic. And now you have guys able to do it at each and every size, 6'10", 6 feet, 6'5", 6'6". And then you look at the fact that they still got Duncan Robinson at 6'7", the guy that can play the small forward, the power forward, and give you spacing to be able to allow Jimmy Butler to play in that mid-range, and the same with Bam Adebayo. And it allows them to be screeners and cutters whenever they need to be, because you have so much space and so many guys trying to break you down off the dribble that some guys going to be open, either getting to the basket or at the three-point line, or they allow them to move without the basketball, or the screens can allow them to get open enough to where they can get quality shots. And that's the way the Heat like to play, especially the Jimmy Butler iteration of the team. And I feel like now they have more weapons to be able to play that type of style, especially because they got more ball creators. And Kel'l Ware, he's a beast. I like Kel'l Ware. He can finish strong in the paint. He's a guy that can set screens. He's a legit 7-footer, so you can play him with Bam and have two guys that's great defensively. I'm not saying that he's going to be great defensively as a rookie, especially because it's going to be an adjustment period. It's going to be a strength period that he's going to have to learn how to endure the bumping and the bruising and the physicality of the game in the paint. And he's going to also have to adapt to that. And he's going to have to adapt to playing more games than he usually does, because he didn't have to play all these games in college and overseas. So now he has to do that since he went to Indiana for college. He's going to have to play a longer period of time. And people are saying, well, Kel'l Ware may not play that many minutes. They don't really like playing rookies. They don't really like, putting the ball in people's hands and making them make decisions when they're 20 years old. But now the game is evolving and the game is showing you that these guys are NBA ready. And I feel like he has the body, he has the size, he has the length, he has the IQ like he did in summer league. And then again, he is playing with Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo at the same time for the most part, probably. And they can help communicate to make his job easier and make him more prepared to be a great defender. And training camp is going to be huge for a guy like Khalil Ware defensively, and I think that's important and essential to the identity of what the Heat is continuing to try to build. And then you look at Josh Richardson. This is a guy that took a huge pay cut. He's a solid defender. He's a great perimeter guy. He can possibly be a 3-and-D guy for this team and give them a little bit of assurance just in case Jimmy Butler gets injured. Kevin Love has been great. He can be a great screen setter. He can shoot the three. He can post up a little bit in mismatches. He can shoot over people in face-up type of games. He's a guy that can still score, still rebound, still pass, and he can still help guys out in transition with the lead pass after a rebound. You have to be able to finish a possession with rebounds, and having more rebounders and guys that can space the floor and pass and set guys up with the screen and the dribble handoffs. Kevin Love can do that very well, and I think that that's something that he aged gracefully because he know his game, he know his role, and he know how to stay out the way. He proved that in Cleveland after losing Minnesota, and teams look at him as a helper. And if he can help you become a better player or make your job easier, that's his job as a teammate anyway, even if he's coming off the bench or starting, which I can see if they get injured, they will still have confidence that Kevin Love can get the job done, which he has been able to show these last 2 years with the Miami Heat and the Cleveland Cavaliers, which have been playoff teams. He has played a pivotal position for them, and I feel like he can continue to do that even with this roster. But when you look at the rest of this roster, they have everything they basically need to be a great team. They have everything they need to be a contender in the Eastern Conference, and they have everything they need to be a scary threat. Like, we all know this is a team you don't want to play. You don't want to, get in a 7-gamer with. This is a team that feel like we can beat anybody. We bolstered our bench. We got more creators. We got more shooters. We got more team players. And now it's just about Bam and Jimmy being healthy so we can play off them and help them out, and they can help us out as a team on both ends of the court. And if they can do that, then I can see the Heat being one of the most slept on teams in the Eastern Conference. Everybody talking about the newer teams, and every year we just forget about the Heat. They still got just as much talent. They still got just as much heart. They still got just as much confidence, and they still got a great enough defensive core that it can still work and they can still fight their way out of the bloodbath of the Eastern Conference and still be able to get to the finals. We seen them compare, great with them. They matched up great with the Celtics. The Celtics finally was able to beat them a little faster than they usually do, but injuries kind of make that series easier. But this is one of the grindiest, toughest, ugly, muckiest teams that you have to really beat and beat and beat to be able to win. And I think that it's going to be the same this year. If you play this team in a playoff, it's going to be a bloodbath. That's what you have to do to beat this team. And I feel like they got more players that fit that more than ever this year. So I wouldn't be surprised if they made it to the second round. I wouldn't be surprised if they made it to the Eastern Conference Finals, because playoffs is all about matchups, how you execute, how you value possessions, how you execute possessions, and how you defend. And he got all that stuff figured out. So this is a veteran team. This is a team that has a lot of weapons and a lot of guys that want to win or got a chip on their shoulder. And they all came together to give that last hurrah. And I feel like these next 2 years with the Heat, they're going to be in that conversation. The next 2 years of they're going to be in the playoff, and that's going to be that one team I don't really want to play, but I know if I want to win, we're going to have to do it. And that's the mentality that you have to have. So what I expect from them, playoff team, legit contender to come out the East and be able to, make it to the finals. And is there a finals being able to win team? It just depends on how they shooters play, how the young players contribute, and can Jimmy Butler and Bam stay healthy enough to give them a chance again, because we don't really know who's going to come out the Western Conference. And by that being legit every single season, because anything can happen, this team is still a contender in my eyes when it comes to respect. They have basically the same roster that they've been getting to the finals and making deep runs with, and now they added a little bit more fuel to the fire. And I feel like that's what they needed to do this off season, and I feel like they accomplished that. Other than that, comment, like, subscribe, share, hit the notification bell for more analysis and to be able to get it first when it first come out, just in case you're ready for NBA content. This is a channel that does NBA content each and every day. So if you're new and this is the first video you watch, I have videos just like this and a lot more. And I have breakdowns, tributes, and even discussion videos, even videos where I'm giving it straight to the point with a breakdown like this. So if this is the type of content that you like, this is the content that you want, I do it every single day for the most part. And on top of that, I have so many videos that's already posted, over 2,700 of them, that you have something that you'll like eventually. So continue to watch my old videos, continue to check out other videos as you become a fan of this channel or a person that's already a fan of this channel. Other than that, I'm gone.